If I stop talking, it gets inside. Don't look away. I have to keep my breath moving. Listen. My throat is raw. I'll go quick, but I can't skip steps. If I skip, it slips. I walked until my tongue cracked. The desert was flat and loud with light. Heat made the dunes shake. I had a skin of brine and a mouth of sand. I kept my hood low and my head down. I knew the cave was here. I marked it years ago on a slate in my kit. Not the big ones the caravans know. A small mouth and a low ridge. I just wanted shade and water and stone that doesn't move. The sanctuary door was a slab, half buried. Dry stone. There were marks on it. Old. Salt smeared on the edges. I knew them. Ward lines and square cuts. Simple work. Not mine. Or I thought not then. Wind drove grit into my teeth while I brushed the slab. I pressed and it shifted. I should have left it. I'm not saying that to sound wise. It's just plain. I should have left it. Inside was cool and black. The heat fell off me fast. It felt wrong right away because my echo came back late. It didn't match my words. I said hello like a fool, and the echo said hello after a blink, and the tone was off, like a mouth full of water. I made light, just a small witch flame cupped in my hand. It shook. The corridors were dry stone, tight joints, no mortar. The kind of build that doesn't squeak when you walk. There were lines of white along the walls and floor. Salt. Wards? Yes, but put down lazy. Not swept clean. Clumped. Someone did them in a hurry or with too little salt. The air smelled like old clay and stale leather. My tongue stuck to my teeth. The cistern was down 2 turns. A round well with a lip and a seal stone wedged across. Ropes hung loose. No cups, no scoops. The seal had a sigil pressed in wax on both sides. The wax was brittle. It crumbled when I touched it. I didn't think. I scraped it with my nail and it flaked like fish scales. I pried the stone up and heat rolled out of the hole. Then a chill, sharp, like shade inside shade. That was the first wrong breath. I exhaled from the push and it came back to me cold on my lips, like somebody blew back. I leaned over with the flame low. Dark water under me. I was shaking with thirst. My spit was grains. I mouthed a word to clean it. My own little thing, a simple cleanse. I've used it 100 times. The sound went into the hole and didn't come out right. My reflection moved when I held still. He leaned in a beat late. I breathed out to fog the dark, and the skin of the water pulled. It pulled in, like it inhaled me. I felt my mouth stop. I didn't do it. My lips sealed. I felt that little ache in the jaw hinges, but my voice kept going. It kept saying the second half of the word. Sound out of nowhere. No air out of me. My chest stayed full and tight. The flame went taller in my palm like it got fed. The echo said the word again, but wrong, softer, like lips in the water. I pulled back so fast I hit my shoulder on the wall. I almost dropped the light. My breath shuddered. I coughed into my sleeve. Grit scratched my throat. I swallowed and it stuck. The water looked like a mouth. I don't mean it opened. Don't make it fancy. It didn't move like that. It just felt like a mouth waiting for my breath. I knew it then. It rides breath. It sits on exhale and slides in. That's its line. I backed into the corridor. I wanted walls. I spoke on purpose. I kept my lips loose. It was like being drunk with rules. If I spoke, I felt it hang back, waiting at the edge of sound. If I went quiet, it pressed up, heavy, on the inside of my ribs. I am a wizard. I know lures. I know small things that get into bigger things. I'm not proud. I panicked. I poured salt from my pouch and made a circle in a dry room with a flat floor. The lines smeared. My hand shook. I breathed shallow, like I used to when I hid under boards as a boy. I put the flame on a rock. I took a breath in through my nose, slow. I let it go in words. Stay out. I said it over and over. I sat in the circle and set 3 stones around me to mark quarter. I rubbed my chest. It hurt there. A pressure like a knee. Then something else under it. A thump, not mine. A second pulse in my chest, like a drum 2 rooms away. Weak at first. It found a rhythm after a while. Off my heart. It wants to set its beat in you. It was doing it. The echo in that room lagged. I would say stay and hear stay when my tongue was already moving to the next word. The salt line glittered when my spit hit it. Then it went damp. The cave had sweat, little beads on the walls. They ran down and cut the line. I saw the gap form. Not on its own. Water made it. Not much. Enough. I didn't make the circle thick enough. I didn't have enough salt. I wrapped a cloth over my mouth to strain my breath. A scarf from my kit. The weave was tight. I tied it hard at the back. Air came thin. My mouth went numb. The cloth cooled from my own wet, and then it frosted at the lips. I watched the white patch spread. My chest pushed harder. The second beat knocked at my ribs like fingers. I felt it test me. I think it wanted me to dump air and panic. I decided to starve it. Hold my breath and see if it slips. I am not a child. I can hold breath. I used to do the underwater trick, counting tiles. I drew it in and locked my throat. It hit the lock. I felt it squirm. My eyes watered. My ears popped and pinged. I counted with my fingers. 1, 2, 3. The second pulse climbed and pushed my heart off beat. My sight narrowed. My hands tingled. It was not just me running out of air. It pressed. Fingers on my ribs from the inside. 4, 5. I went away. I woke on stone with grit on my tongue and my hands over my head like someone had dragged me by the wrists. My scarf was gone. My mouth hung open. Dry wind. I could taste cistern air again. The corridor around me was not the one I picked. The walls were narrow. Scrapes on my knees. It pulled me while I slept. Not with my legs. With breath. It used the little leaks. It rode little sighs when I let go. I have bruises under my ribs now. Prints. 5 ovals on each side. They line up with a hand. Mine. That is the part that made me sick. It used me to squeeze me. I ran. As much as a man can run in a maze. My sandals slapped stone. Every corner had chalk and salt I didn't make. Old marks. I saw a sigil on a lintel. Sharp cuts. A small notch at the end. My notch. I cut my letters that way when my hand shakes. I know my hand. It was mine, but deep, eaten into the rock. That is when my stomach dropped. I had been here, or I will be. Either way, I was the one who set something. I laid the line that I broke. I found a room with shelves, clay jars, old wax seals with twine stuck in them. A binding room. I blessed that little room. It felt like a friend. I grabbed a jar. It smelled like dust. I melted the edge of a seal with my flame and peeled it. I held the jar to my mouth, pressed it hard, and breathed out into it, long, then twisted the wax and pushed the seal back, hand over the hole. My breath fogged the inside. The jar went cold. The cold spread to my palm. I heard a noise inside, a small hollow thump. The same second beat, faint, like a mouse tapping. I taped the wax down. I did another. My jaw hurt from pushing out air and talking at the same time. I stacked 3. They shook. The cold in them bit through the clay. Frost rimmed the glaze. A hairline crack climbed one. I picked it up and the crack jumped. It hissed. Cold air blew on my face. It blew into my mouth by reflex. My throat seized. I coughed and swallowed grit. It was inside again before I could swear. I tried to line the jars in salt. I poured what I had left into a dish and cracked the jars into it like eggs. The salt took the frost and clumped. It went wet and brown. It sank. The jar spit again. One rolled off the shelf and broke. The sound was soft, not like a bowl. It was like a bag going flat. The cold rolled across the floor. My ankles burned with it. It wasn't in the room. It was in me. I knew it when the second pulse clicked back stronger. Listen, I said out loud to nobody, which is to say to you. If I stop, it climbs. I don't have a better word. It climbed my breath. It uses the stairs. I clapped my own chest like I was calming a mule. I don't know why. It did nothing. My hands left a print on the dust on my skin. I saw now the marks from before were my same grab. I wanted to cry. It wastes water. I cut runes. I took my knife and scraped fast marks around a doorway. Old style. Body lines. No grace. Cut, cut, cut. I bled on the stone and cursed because blood is salt and water. Both. It liked that. My chest eased a little when the blood ran. It was tasting. I knew that feel. I kept cutting anyway. I carved the same marks into my skin under my ribs. Just shallow. Straight lines. Cross lines. Little box under my left nipple. Flare under my right. When I poured a pinch of salt into the cuts, it burned so hard I bit through my lip and tasted iron. The pain kept my breath ragged. Ragged is good. It can't set a foot when the steps keep changing. I bought a minute. Then it shoved. It made my left hand slap the wall. It opened my mouth, slow, like a person who wants you to see they are doing it. My breath spilled and the echo took it like a rope. I blacked out again. I woke with my face over the cistern. My hair had grit in it. My knuckles were raw. There was a smear where someone's heel dragged me. My heel. My bead string was on the stone. I keep breath beads. I use them when I cast. 1 per breath. Left to right. It keeps you honest. I had dropped them there, or set them there. I can't parse that part. I picked them up and ran them through my fingers. Dry wood. 1 cracked bead with a knot inside it. The crack caught skin. A small click when it rolled past my nail. It was a sound I knew. It calms me. The seal stone I lifted before sat by the wall. The wax was all dust now. The pattern pressed in it was mine. I pressed that pattern when I was a younger man. I saw the same crooked line where my knife slipped and I pretended it meant something. It was just a slip. That was the twist of it. I sealed this thing. Then I came back thirsty and broke it. That is the kind of man I am. Or the cave does this. Or both. There was a way to end it. The old books say it. You either blow it into something made to hold breath, or you swallow and keep it. and you starve it in a pit with tight walls. Either way looks like a choice. One frees your body and gives the world a problem. One saves the world and kills you slow, shaking like a cup. I stood by the lip and tried to pick a flask from my belt with fingers that didn't feel like mine. "Don't breathe with me," I said. "Don't match me." I heard my voice in the water say, "Match me," a blink late. I can't make that detail pretty. It still makes me want to vomit. It talks in your own shape. I took the bead string in my left hand and looped it over the seal stone. I pressed my thumb to the bead with the crack. 1 breath per bead. I knew that if I could get to the last bead with my lungs full, I would have enough to blow hard and long into a new seal. Or if I could get to the last bead empty, I could dive down the thought and pull it into me and drop in the storage chamber. Then I could lay down and wait. And maybe the marks in the stone would match my hand because I had been where I was going. My mouth wanted to open on its own. I forced my jaw shut and hummed low instead. The hum kept the pipe tight. I pressed fingers to my throat. The second pulse drummed back. Nothing fancy. A flat boom. Not the snap of a heart. A wet, slow shoulders-on-stone boom. It made my teeth tick. The echo lagged bad in there. I said, "I know you," and 3 heartbeats later it said "know you" like it was chewing. I poured the last of my salt in a line across the rim and spat in it. It went slick. I smeared it with the seal stone and made mud. I told myself it was mortar. Lies help sometimes. I set the stone across but left a gap as wide as my thumb. A mouth. If I pushed my breath through that, it might stick. It raised my left arm without asking. It put my hand on my own throat and pressed. Not hard yet. Enough to warn. Bruises there later. I know it. I let the hand stay and used my right to hold the beads. My knees shook. The cold came up out of the hole and ran up my face and into my eyes. I couldn't blink. The second pulse took my nose. It set up residence behind the cartilage. Sand taste flooded my mouth, fresh, like I'd face-planted into a dune. Thirst hit like a hammer. I swallowed nothing and my throat clicked. "Talk," I said. To you, to myself, to keep the words stacked. Hear me. If I stop, it takes the word and rides it. I don't know if you can hear the difference. Maybe you can't. Maybe you are breathing with me right now and you don't know it. I put my lips to the gap. The skin of the stone was coarse. It scraped my top lip. My beard caught a grain of wax. I set the bead string so the beads would hit the stone, a click for each breath so I could keep count without trusting my head. I brought in air slow through my nose and felt it fight to get in. The second beat tried to sink. I held it off by breaking the rhythm. In. Hold. Talk. Out in a steady push into the gap. Cold ran back the wrong way and made my teeth ache. The echo said stop when I said go. It always did the opposite. I had that to lean on. First bead. Click. Second. Click. My left hand pressed my throat harder. My vision freckled. Third. It took my tongue. My tongue lay fat in my mouth and didn't want to move. The words came around it like a man sliding around a cart in a narrow hall. Fourth bead. Click. Fifth. My lips went numb. The breath went out in a line so thin I thought it wouldn't push. Sixth. My chest burned. It pushed back from the hole and I felt cold fill me from the chin down. The ribs flexed. Fingers around them. It was hugging from the inside, and not sweet. I told you I'd keep this simple. This is the part my head wants to blur. I won't. Seventh bead. Click. Eighth. I saw my reflection in what little water was visible around the seal. He moved late still. He wasn't me. He looked so tired. I knew him. I think I saw a scar on his left rib, my cut, but white like years ago. I don't have that scar yet. 9th bead. Click. My left hand pressed. Lights popped in my eyes. My knees dropped half an inch. I made myself not sag farther. It let me see something then. A corridor that was mine and not mine. My sigils bright and cut clean. Salt lines straight. That was not this time. That was a time I did it right. This time I had mud and spit. It was showing me a better hand to make my hand slow. It likes you slow. 10th bead. I had to pick. Blow into the gap and hope the seal and the beads in the jars in the other room and the little scratches I cut in the stone work enough to keep it and keep you, whoever you are, safe. Or close my mouth, swallow with everything and take it down as deep as I can, into the tight place, into the little chamber under the cistern where the dead scorpions pile, and curl around it and lock my lips and wait, and count myself out. I thought about dying thirsty in the dark, listening to that second beat stomp my heart off time until the heart gave up trying. I thought about walking out, and every strong wind in the desert being a mouth, it could ride to a camp and into a child, and I would be the one who turned my back and let it happen because I wanted one more skin of sweet water with date in it. I hate choices. I put my mouth to the gap again. My left hand was shaking now. It wanted to make me cough. If I coughed into the gap, it would rush in and jam me open. I squeezed my throat instead and forced a hiss. It screamed back with cold. I could feel it peel away from my teeth and then slam back, stubborn. It is not a mind. It's a habit. Habits are mean. I slid the last bead forward with my thumb. It was the cracked one. It always catches. It caught again. The little click was loud in the stone room. I had one breath left to do one thing right. I looked at the water face and I said, I was the one who put you here. My mouth was numb. It came out like mush. The echo said, put you here, after. And it sounded like me a long time ago. I think it was. I think that's why the wards were my hand. I'm not special. I'm just the idiot who keeps walking back. I took it in. I closed my mouth and I swallowed hard like I was choking down a bone. It fought to go out. It slammed into my tongue and tried to pry my teeth. My left hand crushed my own throat to help me. My face went hot. The second beat stuttered. Then it slid. It went below the top of my sternum. It burned cold the whole way. It made my stomach jump like a fist. I gagged. My eyes poured and there was no water to pour, and that hurt more than the cut. I fell forward on the stone and put my head against it. My fingers found the bead line by feel. The bead with the crack hit the stone and made that click. It is the worst sound I know today. It told me I had done something. Not which thing. If I stand up in a minute, I can push the seal tight and smear the rest of the mud and press my stamp in it with the little knife slipped by the corner. I can sit in the storage chamber under the floor with my back to the wall and hold my throat shut and count the beats until the second one is the only one. If I fall, my mouth will open and everything I pulled in will go up out of me into the gap and into the stone and into the air and whoever is unlucky and close and breathing deep. I'm going to stop talking now. I have to know if it climbs when I stop or if I nailed it inside me. There is one bead under my thumb. The cracked one. It will click when I let this breath out. Listen. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. I've got plenty more coming. Give it a like if it sent a chill down your spine. And, of course, there's another one you can find on my channel. See you on the next one.